Hey, buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. Just waiting for everybody to get on. We are live tonight on Facebook as well. So I'm trying to coordinate both of those and get those set up here. But we'll get started here in about 5 minutes, Tom.
Okay, no problem.
Oh, okay. All right, buddy. Thanks for your patience, man.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, man. I'm just going to go ahead and mute you here.
You do what you need to do, Tim.
Okay. Awesome. That's good old Tom. Can't miss Tom. He's a fantastic guy. Anyway, Facebook, we're going to get started here in just a second. Sorry, I didn't expect to have all this go wrong. But with so many years of doing this, I can assure you there's always a master of confusion trying to do something silly. Anyway, welcome to the call. Tonight we're going to be talking about lots of cool stuff. If you guys want to join us on the Uber conference board, you can. It's super easy. There's two ways you can join. You can dial in. It's totally free, by the way, 1-888-570-7020. You can do that. Or, if you'd like, if you want to tune in with your computer and see what's going on, like what you're seeing here on Facebook, and maybe you want to interact that way, you could go to it's dialpad.com/freedom school. So it's dialpad, meetings.dialpad, that's what it is, .com/freedom school. So, and I just want to welcome everybody that's here to the call. Tonight we're going to be talking about, we're going to be debunking. I was fumbling through, I got to tell you, man, you can TikTok anything. I have to say, there's some truth in that statement, man. You can TikTok anything. There is a cuckoo. Good evening. Welcome to the call, everyone. I'm going to mute you, Mike. Welcome to the call, everyone. But anyway, and tonight we're going to be talking about travel. We're going to be talking about what some of these guys are saying, what's going on out there. And one thing in particular, it kind of set me off a little bit. It was like I said, you can find anything in TikTok. I mean, you really can. You can, like I said, it's stupid, but like you can TikTok anything. It's dumb, but really. Anyway, so the point is, what I'm trying to, sorry, let me get hung up on that. But what I'm trying to say is that, that there's a guy out there and he's posting. He's in the medical field, I can tell, of some sort, whether he be a veterinarian or, working at an old folks home. Who knows? I don't know. But I can hear machines and things going on in the background and people. And I hear him over there yik-yakking. And I did a little research on him. And you guys can look him up. His TikTok channel is there. It's on the preview of the video, tonight's video. And it's also on TikTok. So if you don't, you can look me up. And it's also on there because I posted it too. I found it very interesting. He states that there is a government arm for state citizens. Now, that's just kind of a contradiction of terms. I mean, just prospectively. Okay? I mean, it's just, why would the feds have a wing for something for states? That would kind of be like commingling, don't you think? I mean, do people not think? I guess they don't. Anyway, we're going to give this a few more minutes before I really start getting started because I'm about to rip it. We're about to rip it. No, it's not the 80s when you used to whip it. Tonight, we are going to rip it. We're going to rip it good, too. And we're going to talk about this stuff because it needs to be said. It absolutely needs to be said. So I want to welcome everybody to the call. Please, share this information, okay? If you know some people that sit around and drink that sovereign citizen moonshine and act stupid and start thinking they can, talk crazy nonsense to cops and things like that and with no recourse, no. And, and you have to go back to your roots, too, your morals. And if you don't have any, well, then that's your fault. But you need to find some. And I know that my Creator wouldn't want me to talk to somebody like that and expect something good to come from it. Now, and it's one thing if they get mad at you, and I mean, it's one thing if you get angry with them because they're just being stupid or they're being bullies or whatever. I get that, okay? That's just defending yourself. But just right there off the bat, I don't know. I don't know. I see no fruits of the spirit on that one at all. So, it's a package for you right there. Anyway, so sorry about that. My son just walked in the door. So tonight we're going to be talking about that. And as a matter of fact, I think it's about time to get started. I usually get started a little bit after, but tonight we're just going to get started like right now. I think it's just a good idea. Help everybody get here on time often, maybe, perhaps.
This call is being recorded.
Fantastic. And that makes me so happy, and I'm thrilled to death to be here. Praise the name of Yahweh, because his name is great. His word is great. And I'm just going to tell you guys now, if you're not starting your day that way, the rest of your day, man, you have better odds at the liquor stores playing scratch-off tickets, really. And those are not good odds. So today is Monday, May the 2nd, 2022. Tonight's discussion is we're going to be talking about this travel stuff. Those of you guys saw the little video that I posted. It's interesting. It's interesting. This gentleman dressed in a medical getup, some scrubs of some kind. Gosh, I hope he's not fixing anybody. Oof. Anyway, it continues to go on. He says, state nationals have their own wing in the government. It's the United States of America Department of Travel. And here's the letter. And here's this. And then he just has court right there. He's figured it out for everybody. And this is how he got there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got to be true. Says the guy with the the medical stuff on, right? I watched that, and I just had to just take a couple of steps back. And, we're not going to crush this guy. We're just not. Just not going to do that tonight. He deserves it. Oh, yes, he does. And if he tries any of that poo-poo out with the cops, he's done. He's done. And tonight, we're going to talk about why. We're going to talk about why it doesn't work, why it's not going to work. And then, I know that there's all of you guys that are here. We've all heard some sort of, and maybe you think it's true. Throw it out here tonight. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about that stuff. This is an open call for you. So there's a couple of ways you can join the call. The first way is how you are right now. So if you're on Facebook, hello Facebookers. And the other way is I have this dial pad conference board, and it's kind of like Zoom. It's just cheaper. But they do the same thing. Trust me. It's like they didn't corner the market, I promise. I know they think they did, though, but they didn't. Anyway, it's dialpad.meeting.com/freedom page. Or you can call in at 1-888-570-7020. And those of you guys that are here on the Uber conference board as well, because we're broadcasting from both ends. Wow, that didn't even sound right. Sorry. Anyway, so we're broadcasting on both sides of the coin here. And for you guys, if you guys needed to ask a question, anything like that, just press * to unmute. And, you're welcome to ask questions at any time you want. Just be courteous to each other. Yield the floor to each other. Sometimes we might have traffic jams, and people jump on and stuff. Just be courteous, It's okay. We're going to get to you. We're going to take all the time that we need to take to get to you. Because I just think that this is a really important topic. This is a very important topic. And I'm going to tell you, quite honestly, it's like when somebody comes up with a good thing, there's like 90 cuckoos that just fall off of the tree and just break their head or something. I don't know. And they start talking all this other nonsense. And tonight we're going to be talking about that. Tonight we're going to be talking about the United States of America Department of Travel. And what does Tim Damron know about the United States of America Department of Travel? Well, Tim Damron has the whole package with the United States of America Department of Travel. And not only do I have it, but I can tell you that it works. It's effective. I traveled the country for 2.5 years with my RV and a chase vehicle, both plates. I'm going to show you guys those tonight. And with my family of 5, and it was the most amazing experience ever. I had the pleasure of traveling the country. I had the pleasure of meeting a lot of you guys that are on the call tonight that are here. And known you guys for lots of years now, and our relationships just continue to grow and grow. And for that, you guys are really a blessing. It's been a wonderful deal. But tonight, I'm going to show you guys some of the pitfalls. You know, you got to be really careful when you're doing things. Okay, you got to be. You know, my dad always used to say, you got to be. You don't shoot your mouth off. You know, he used to say that a lot because the mouth would go off like a machine gun. I'm telling you. And it still does sometimes. I pray to Yahweh to control it. Tonight we're going to do that before we really get started. I'm just waiting for everybody to get on here. Awesome. Glad everybody's here. Let's see, we've got Mike. We've got Victoria, Texas. We've got Reading, Pennsylvania. And we've got Richland, Washington on the call tonight. And we have those of you guys out here in Facebook land. I just want to thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight. I think this is an appropriate time to ask for some guidance. I want to make sure this message comes to you guys perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect, okay? So if you could, just let's give Yah just a minute. Father in heaven, we come before you today as your servants, and I thank you. I thank you for this opportunity to pray to you, speak to you, to acknowledge your name over every other name. You are our Elohim, you are our provider, and our shield. And I thank you for all that you do. I thank you for all that you've been doing. I thank you for the answered prayer. And I thank you for the decisions that you've handed down, Father, because I know they're according to your will, and I know they're according to what is right. I just pray for your hand to be over this meeting tonight. I pray for the words that I say tonight to be comprehensible. And I pray that the folks here will understand the difference between the right and the wrong way to do this deal. I thank you, Heavenly Father, for all that you do. We give you praise, honor, and glory. Shalom. Shalom. Awesome, everyone. So, for those of you guys who don't know, I am a practicing Hebrew. I'm also a minister. And we have a nonprofit. It's called the House of Yah Community Outreach. We are stationed here in Texas. We help just about anybody. But our main focus is our vets, our homeless vets. I don't believe somebody that talented and that skilled should just be thrown away when you're done with them. And I think that happens a lot. And we want to try to cover that void. And that's been a mission of mine for quite a few years now. So I appreciate you all being here tonight. I appreciate you being part of UPC, which is United, actually you can see right here. And, we want those equal rights as well. So we want to fight for those rights. We want a change in government. That's what we're really saying. You hear that? You guys that want to run for office, you guys that want to call me and say you want my vote, or you want me to do something for you, why don't you do something for us? There's a voice. And tonight we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Let me tell you. Let's talk about this whole travel driving movement thing, okay? Why did this thing even start in the first place? Well, it got started because people got greedy. Well, which people? The people you elected. Yeah, the people I elected. The people my parents elected. And continue to elect them because they've just been there, so we'll just leave them there. Not because they're doing a good job, but just because they've been there. And that's not always a good idea. And Generation X, we're seeing that. We're seeing the rewards of all that. And I'm going to tell you, there's not many of them. But tonight, this travel thing, the reason why this thing, I believe that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get sidetracked like that. I just needed a marker there. But tonight, we're going to talk about how these things work and how they don't work. Okay? Is there a such thing as driving commercially and driving non-commercially? Absolutely. Is there a fraud going on with the driver's license? Yes and no. My opinion is this. We have a lot of licenses that we have, right? I mean, you know, at one time, you know, I had a contractor's license, and a survey license, and an inspector's license, a driver's license. I could drive motorcycles and all kinds of other things. Okay, with lots of, you know, not very many limits on what I could do. I could do lots of different things. So, and that's groovy, right? Because you got all these licenses. You even have a marriage license. Got that too. You covered, right? Lots of licenses. So, but when we get pulled over, there's a presumption that we should hand them our driver's license. And it's because we have been taught that driving is something that you just do. Yeah. Like anything, like back in the 80s, anything that had headphones and played a cassette was a Walkman. And it didn't matter if Panasonic made it. Didn't matter if it was orange, blue, or red. Just get your Walkman. Come on, man. Let's go. And we start learning these things in our culture. And we start saying things. And we start misfiring things in our culture. And I'm going to tell you that our culture is flooded with little stupid things like that. Little dumb things. And they're there for a reason. They're there because it helps. I think, it's just my opinion, I think that these are triggers that people use in people's heads to get them to act a certain way so that they'll comply. For example, when an officer asks you for your driver's license, man, the first time it happens, it's like, oh, jeez, yeah, man, here. What other license you want, man? I want no trouble. Why? Because he's coming at you like that, right? Or she's coming at you, or the pronoun is coming at you. Whatever they got these days, I don't know. Can't tell sometimes. They got some funny ones out here in Bear County, I gotta tell you. Some of them, I think they shave their backs. I don't know. It's just, you just can't tell. You just don't know. Not getting in trouble in Bear County. Don't do it. Anyway, but they're teaching people to do things. They're teaching people about processes and plates and all of these things and freedom from these cops and this and that. And I get it, because that's the heart of the protest, and that's why people are really doing this stuff. And I didn't mean to get sidetracked there, so we're going to get back on track here. Forgive me. People, that's how they got away with it, you know? I mean, think about it. We're looking at gas these days. Dude, I remember, and everyone else, I remember when gas was under $1 a gallon. You know? I remember putting gas in my motorcycle and driving for 120 miles on $3.20 in gas. Yeah, I remember those days. So, because of that, you look at today's prices and what's happened, you've got to know something's changing. You got to know that something's not right. And so what happened is they just got it in when gas was real cheap, and it didn't cost anything, and we built huge gas guzzlers for the purpose of making us consume more gas so people could sell more gas. Do you know that the first cars that were built would run on anything? I mean, almost anything. They would run on transmission fluid. They would run on burnt oil. They would run on diesel, gas. They would run on anything. And the reason why is because they had to. These trucks were used for trucking, you know, and they were breaking away from the horses. So, you know, they had to build them that way. They had to build them practical. They had to build them so people could work on them. Well, now nobody knows how to work on anything, and now they tell you exactly what to put in your vehicle, and if you don't, you're breaking federal law. Did you know that? That's right. So this is what happens when you hand over your rights and your control to someone else to govern you, because you're too lazy to do it yourself, honestly. And I'm talking to my parents, your parents, and their parents, because they handed all that away. They didn't have to do that. There's plenty of laws and statutes here in Texas that define travel and driving. Okay? So let's define. Now, everything that this dude said, just Just put it on the back shelf for right now, okay? Then number one, there is no that's what he said about the state national thing. That's completely false. There is that absolutely is not true. Okay, and I'll tell you why. You cannot be a state national and then be supervised by a federal wing of the government. Do you realize that's a conflict of interest? So just like I said, to clean up what I said earlier, that statement is just completely erroneous, completely frivolous. Okay? Listen to these people, okay? There's a lot of people, and they're doing this on purpose. They're taking something that actually is functional, and it does work. That process does work. I know because I use it. And I have used it. And I've perfected it. It's on Facebook. I mean, you can go through my Facebook thing, and you could go back a couple of years and just see us just traveling everywhere. And that's exactly what we did. And we did not get stopped one time. Did not get asked any questions by any cops. Not one time. Not one time. Why? What's the difference between what I did and what that dude was squawking on his squawk box about? Okay. What he's talking about is, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Your driver's license is a bond, okay? And basically, the your municipalities, seek to place contractual liens against your driver's license bond. Okay? Then that bond is connected to your Social Security card. And your Social Security card is attached to that other thing. That if I start talking about on Facebook, they get all stupid and weird, and then they start thinking we're sovereign citizens, so we're not going to talk about that. But you know what I'm talking about. It's the T word. That's right. The T word that nobody's controlling, and this is why I say shame on our parents, shame on my parents, because they gave all that power to them so they could tell us what to do. Did you know in the state of Texas you're not required to surrender your title in order to get registration in the state? But in most states, and almost every other state that I know of, you have to. You have to surrender the MSO to the state. At least in Texas, it's optional, and they just trick stupid people into doing it, and they do it every day. The dealerships are in cahoots with the state to make sure that they sell lots of vehicles for the state. Because if the state, well, you know what, let's just go there. So the state, what happens is that they get the MSO, okay? What's the MSO? The MSO is the manufacturer's certificate of title, basically, okay? And there's two different kinds. There's two different acronyms. It's an MSO, and the other one's some other acronym, but it's three letters too, and it doesn't matter. Okay, we're not going to go there. I don't want to hear it. Nothing in the comments. Shh. Okay, nobody wants to hear it. We know. Okay, we don't need to go there. But because here's why we don't need to go there. Because here's what happens. That document, there's only one of them ever, and it goes to the state thanks to the application that you fill out at the dealership, and that application means that you're begging for them to take care of you, to manage the roads that you drive on, to make sure that you maintain the state's property. Yeah, that's what I said, the state's property. See, they have legal title, and you have equitable title. Do you know what I'll tell you, the proof in that is this. Go drink too much. Yeah, go drink too much and go woo-hoo-hoo with no seatbelt on and do something dumb and let the cops pull you over and decide that you're drunk and impaired and they're going to take your car. Do you know that they don't need your permission to take your car? Why? Because it's already the state's property. That's why they can tell you to put a breathalyzer in it. That's why they can pull you out and tase you. That's why all these sovereign citizens that sit there and talk all this shicky shack. See, I'm learning to say these little words instead of those other bad words I used to say. Thank you, Yahweh. And instead of all this stuff that they say, okay, we're getting reality. You're starting to see it. I hope you guys are starting to see this. I just needed to stop for a second, but I hope you're starting to see this, what I'm trying to say. There's a way to do this properly, okay? It's giving notice. That's the most important thing. And once you give notice, you know what happens? You don't have interactions. They leave you alone. Okay? Did you hear what I said? Once you do this, and you do it properly, they leave you alone. They don't stop you anymore. They don't profile you anymore. Because they know that you know. Now, these cuckoo birds, like this nutball that I was talking about earlier, he's in the TikTok. Okay? If you look up my TikTok, it's TikTok. My TikTok page, it's Son of Yah. That's YAH 777. So if you guys want to look that up, you can. Anyway, it's on there. So it'll refresh your memory. You can look it up and see what this boohoo is talking about. So let's talk about this travel thing. Okay, so this is what happens. Those of you guys that are parents, think of your teenage kids driving your vehicles or operating your vehicles. There's rules, right? You tell them, you can't be doing donuts in a parking lot at Walmart. No, you cannot be jumping the riverbeds either. It's not a stunt car. And you certainly can't be running from the cops, right? Those are like basic rules I think we can all agree on, right? And that's what you tell your kids. You don't want them driving like that. Oh, wait a minute. Because why? Because they're in your property, right? And you don't want them to mess it up. Well, guess what? You're in the state's property, and those enforcers that are out there, it's their job to police you to make sure you don't mess up the state's property. Ha ha ha. So there you go. If you look here in San Antonio, I don't care what you idiots say. I don't care. I just don't care. You look here in San Antonio, it says they're protecting and serving the Alamo City. Do you know who the Alamo City is? Well, I'll tell you who it's not. It's not me. Because my name's not in parentheses on that DBA that's filed somewhere. It says the Alamo City. And that's who they're protecting and serving. That means their stuff. That means their vehicles that are registered in their county that you pay them for. See, they're paying them to make sure that you act right. You can thank your parents for that. And then you can thank your grandparents for that too if they're still alive. Oh yeah, because this is their fault. Yep, they did it. They gave it all up. And they got tricked right out of it. Because they were so busy playing with their VCRs. And their Nintendos. And the Commodore 64s back then. And all the other stupid stuff that they have. And you know what? Nothing's changed. We still got the same stupid stuff. We just got phones now. And all the stupid stuff is on one unit. Stupid. It is. You know what? Maybe we should hate ourselves a little bit too. Maybe we gave some stuff up too. So I want to talk to you guys about this travel stuff, driving and traveling. As long as you're driving the state's property, and I said that story about the parents and the kids, because in this case, the state of Texas is your daddy. Yeah. And the kids. That's his stuff. And you got to drive it. Like he says so. And no, you're not on the job. Because it's not a job, right? No. Here's how the witchcraft lays down, boys and girls. You paid them for the job. You filled out an application for title and an application for registration. Okay? Hold on a second. I want to make sure we're good. See, you filled out that, didn't you? Yeah. And then you paid them for it, too. Yeah. So guess what they're doing? Their job. So, do you understand that it's going to take a whole lot more than a $35 license plate that says you're free and that you know something now to get this, to unravel all this? You see this web? And this is how they get them every single day. I know, we're on Facebook, totally. I don't care. I'd rather you know the truth than listen to these dingle hickers talking nonsense, because they upset me to no end. They upset me to no end because I'm here to tell you, well, let's talk about the United States of America Department of Travel. Let's talk about that. I think that's a better deal. So number one, the United States of America Department of Travel is not a wing of the United States government. No more than the Federal Reserve is anything federal. It's not. They're a separate company, just like the post office is a separate company. Yeah. Well, let me tell you who these guys are. So, the United States of America Department of Travel were a group of people, very smart people, and really did. I had the pleasure of meeting some of the founders, and I know who they are personally. I still talk to them, and they're good people. But there were some elements that were missing in their processes, and because of that, they were not able to sustain anymore. So there is no more United States of America Department of Travel. Yes, you can go look them up. Yes, they still have a Washington, D.C. address. Yes. But there are no offices. There is nobody there. I know that I don't know the details, but I do know that they started getting into conveyance bonds. And shortly after that started happening, I guess some people made some claims or something, and things just kind of went backwards and things blew up, and that's when everything went dark at the company. So, but I'm going to tell you that their process and what they did was absolutely amazing. And what they do is they were working as a hub and intercepting and getting all the documents together to pull them together, and then they gave service and notice to all of the states. And because they gave service and notice to all the states, there's an unbelievable amount of registration and plates and titles and identifications and other things that are out in the general public, and I am one of those recipients. And I can tell you that I've had officers run my plates, and my vehicles all came back to the vehicle came back to that plate. So so it actually absolutely was legitimate, and the key on doing it properly. Many of the folks that bought the packages, they didn't really know what to do on the state level to make sure that everything was where it's supposed to be. And because of that, a lot of those people that did these processes really kind of lost out. And that's why this process, or what this guy was talking about, is completely just not there. Just not true. It's just absolutely not true. And I wanted to clear that up tonight. I want you guys to know what that is and who they are and what they do. Now, if you're interested in knowing more about travel, if you're interested in setting up some safeguards so that you can travel properly, so you can learn how to purchase your cars properly, how to give proper notice, most importantly, if you're interested in learning how to do that process properly, send me an instant message. And those of you guys that are in Facebook land, you guys can send us an instant message here at the bottom. send me your email address or a contact, and I need to go through an interview process with anybody. So there's an interview process that we will do, and we're not just anybody's going to take this class. And here's why. It's not because I don't think you can handle it. It's because some people just can't handle it. Some people are just not there yet. Okay, and you might get a whole bunch of stuff and all kinds of artillery, but you won't know how to use any of it, and you might hurt yourself. I'm going to tell you guys, when you step out, when you step out of all those applications and you step away from all those state contracts, and the driver's license is not a state contract, by the way, too. That's also a fraud. Your driver's license is just a bond. That's all it is. It's a bond. It's a credit card. Look, get your credit card out and look at your driver's license. They're all the same thing, except for your picture. And you could get your picture put on there if that's what you really want. So they can just steal your whole identity, but they just limit it to that document now. But that's essentially what it is. That's why there's a strip on the back, and that's why they swipe it. They literally get paid to pull you over. That's why you always get 5 seconds into a conversation, and they're like, let me have a driver's license. Because they want to run it. Because if they run it, then they can get paid. Well, how are they getting paid? Well, remember, there's no money. So the money that we have, that we're just playing around with money and commerce, and we're just pushing paper back and forth is all we do here, okay? In the United States, that's what we do here. And because of that, they get paid. Because that's the kind of commerce that's going on. There's 2 levels of commerce that are happening. There's public and private commerce happening, and that's a whole nother discussion. But if you guys are interested in learning more about travel, send me an instant message. You can here on UPC or Team Movent, or send me a personal on my email at emmett.damron@yahoo.com. You can do that. It's emmett.damron@yahoo.com. If you're interested in learning more, we can set up a class and go from there. But I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about travel and driving. There is a difference between travel and driving. And certainly when you're running to the grocery store, you are traveling. But would you be commercially traveling if you were in an Uber and going to the grocery store? Well, of course you would. Do you know why? Because a driver, by definition, is someone that is, a passenger is somebody that is paid a fare to be in the car. So when the cops pull up and they're like, driver, get out of the car. Passenger, get out of the car. I'd be like, hold my wallet in there. I didn't pay him nothing. He's using commercial terms, scaring you into those commercial terms. And that's why they wear the black outfits and the guns and and they carry like 200 rounds of ammunition. Ticket might get rough. I don't know. They have feelings now. They have very sensitive feelings, I'm seeing these days. And I guess those bullets and guns and stun guns and all that other stuff, I guess it makes them feel better. Because, those duty belts look really heavy. But anyway, that's another story. So you need to understand some things about travel and drive. You need to understand that the difference between cops and cops and sheriffs. There's a big difference. There's a difference between peace officers and city cops. Like I said, I just said it earlier, right? SAPD, they serve the Alamo City. Well, I'm not the Alamo City, and I don't live in the Alamo City. Last time I checked, I lived in San Antonio. That's not the Alamo City. So who are they serving? The corporations. Yeah. That's who they're really serving. So they got to make sure that we're all taking care. And see, they have this mentality that they're on the job, so you're on the job too. I know it's retarded, right? But that's what happens when you hire somebody with a 70 IQ or less. They'll make dumb decisions like that and won't think twice about it because they don't have any empathy. You hear me? You want to see the absolute the pinnacle of narcissism, go to a police department. Go to a police department. Every one of them, they're all narcissists. Every one of them. Now, and I think that honestly, this is probably why they beat their wives so much, typically. I mean, I'm saying the statistics say so at least. Is that, you know, they just like go home and practice on them. Beat them down all day, and then they go and take it out on the people. I don't know, man. I don't understand why a job would do that to you in the head. And if you're an officer, and if what I'm saying is like really convicting you, man, you know what, dude, don't run from it, man. Make yourself a better person. Those people aren't going to do nothing for you on the day of judgment. That's right. Yeshua is going to judge you. He's going to judge you for your works. He's going to judge you for the people that you oppressed. People that are in positions of power and positions of leadership. You have a heavy burden. I have a heavy burden. If I say the wrong thing up here, you know what? I'm in trouble. So that's why tonight we're going to talk about more about this travel. Anybody got any questions, comments, input, anything like that? Cool. If you do, just cool. Just go ahead and just pop in at any time as soon as I see the little deal undone, or if you guys have comments down there, we'll address them. I'll stop. I'll read them. It's totally cool. So there is a difference, but here's what you got to not be in. I mean, have you ever seen somebody take an electrical truck to go fishing? You know, like an electrician truck, and they're like pulling the boat. It happens. But I mean, it looks weird, right? Why? Because that's for working. And you know that tow truck, and you know with the boat on the back, they're clearly not working. They're lying. No, they're just using what they got. You know? So, how do we distinguish ourselves from working or not working? Well, you can give notice. Have you ever seen some of the private buses and semis and wreckers? They look like commercial vehicles, but they got signs on them that say "not for hire." That's notice right there. That's why they say that, because they're not under commercial rules. See, you're getting it now. Okay. So, what you have to understand is that if your car has a certificate of title, and it has your all caps name on it, which it probably does, it should if you're driving it or operating it, okay, then you have given them control over your property, and they get to tell you what to do with it. They get to tell you when to inspect it. They get to tell you when to do all that. Well, how do we undo that? If I could tell you in 2 sentences and go, ta-ta, just like that, man, I would be amazing. But I'm just not that amazing, and it's not possible. It's a class. It's 6 hours. It's a 6-hour class. It really is. 2 days, 6 hours. First day, we do paperwork. Second day, we do legal. And the reason why is that you need to know this stuff is because you're not going to have any backup. Okay? Once you start filing this stuff and you give proper notice, the system knows what you're doing, and they put a big flag on you. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that you're not eligible for public assistance because you've withdrawn that right. So that's what people need to understand, is that when you separate yourself from the masters, you're not allowed to go back over there and get a donut from time to time. Nuh-uh. You can't do that. And that's where these sovereign citizens really lose their cuckoo bird about, you know. Last week we talked, about the $35 plate club. And they're out there, you know. No license required. No insurance required. I mean, why don't you just put a big sign on the back that says, "I dare you, better not, you won't write me a ticket." Seriously. But you know, people send these people $35 every day just to get one of those dumb plates. And I think once a week I see somebody on TikTok saying they're free. And they're not. They're not. You're on the right track, though. Not gonna diss you for that. Okay? You're on the right track. But here's what you need to really be. You need to be on the right track. Okay? You need to do these things properly. Do them legally. It can be done. Yes. you know what? If you don't believe how powerful notice is, look at what has happened with COVID and the war in Ukraine. That one. Yeah. Notice we don't even talk about COVID anymore. I still see people running around with diapers on their faces here and there, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's some nonsense on the TV. I don't watch it anymore. There's nothing I want on. They have nothing for me. They're just going to lie to you. Seriously. Too much filtering. You know? It's like digging through pig slop trying to find like your wife's wedding band after it got thrown in there. And you know what? It's worth it. But not every day. You know? So, I mean, don't filter that stuff. Just get out of the garbage can. Stop looking for meals or what's, evidence of your well-being, of what's good in a garbage can. Because that's exactly what your television is. That's exactly what your phone is. It's a garbage can. And you're going to have, if you listen to the TikTok thing, you're going to end up filtering more boobs and depressed women out of there than you are anything else, is what I see. And it's terrible. It shouldn't have to be that way. So I want you guys to know, if you do this process, if you decide that you just want to unplug, I don't want them telling me what to do anymore, I want to manage my own affairs, then damn it, learn to manage your own affairs and stop talking about it. Stop misleading other people. Stop telling people what you think you know. Show people what you've done. Show people what you're doing that works. Don't turn people into guinea pigs. That's not how you spread knowledge. That's how you spread confusion. And this young man doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, so I know. How are we supposed to know that you know what you're talking about? Okay, all right. So I told you about this paperwork, right? And it's worth it. Do you have a question, comment? Do you have a question or comment? Mike?
Yeah.
Go ahead, buddy.
A long time ago, they used to have a thing called a chauffeur, like, and to drive semis with them. But now back then, they had a ticket book for truck drivers, the bigger companies, and it had carbon paper on them, just like a waitress used to do a long time ago, to write off and use a carbon paper. Well, we write detention time now. Detention time is after 30 minutes of being at the dock, parked at the dock, and they never started unloading you yet. So detention time starts after 30 minutes of being in the dock to be unloaded.
Well, hey, Mike, I'm having a hard time hearing you, brother. I'm really sorry.
Okay, I'll just go ahead and mute myself. I'll do it another time.
I'm sorry, brother. Yeah, he's I did hear some of it, so let me just kind of tell you what he was talking about, a little bit of it. Some of it I heard, some of it I didn't. So I hope I don't say it wrong. But what he was talking about is chauffeur licenses and how those work. And Mike is actually a commercial truck driver. So if there's anybody that knows this stuff, it's definitely him. If you're in a position where you can text it or voice text it into the call, that would be super cool. Mike, I don't know if, and I know you're actually driving, probably right now, but whatever. I mean, he always has great nuggets of stuff, so I'm really sorry we weren't able to understand that. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys that, let me get this paperwork out. All right, so I am a recipient of the United States of America Department of Travel. I have 2 DOT numbers. That's right, because remember I said I had 2 vehicles. Here's vehicle number 1. That's right. I don't care who sees this. It doesn't matter. You can look it up. It all comes back to me. It's public information. And look, here's one that was on the car for 2.5 years. And here's the other one. So, these were on the van, and this one was on the RV. And the package came with this certificate of exemption of licensing and registration. If you're carrying this around with you in your car, it's not going to do you any good. If you have this document, or if you managed to get it somehow, from some, pilfered, whatever. There's a way to do this stuff, and there's a way to file it. It comes with, you'll see it's the same signatures as he says too. Your fees, the fee schedule. But then that opens up a whole nother door. Here's notice to the governor. But that opens up a whole nother door, because now you've got bond claims to learn. Oh, damn. Yep, that's what I said too. But you know what? I learned them. And I'm doing them. It works. It's effective. So, let's go back to the title. Let's go back to a title. Here's a New Mexico title. This is a New Mexico certificate of title for a dually. Okay? A little Dodge dually I own. Alright. So you're going to see that we have these title numbers up here at the top, right? We got these over here too, right? And you can feel this paper. And when you look down at the bottom, you're going to see that this is on banknote paper. What does that mean? It means that this is on bonded paper, okay? And you have to use bonded paper when you're making documents, when you're making instruments, okay? Those of you guys have your checks, feel your checks. They feel the same way, unless you got them cheap ones. Just kidding. Anyway, and then on the back, you have all this stuff that's going on here. In my class, I will teach you how to take this and actually remove them so that they can't tell you what to do with your property anymore. That's a big part of what people don't do in this process, okay? And as long as the state owns your property, the state can tell you what to do with it. And then when you don't do what they say, guess what they can do? They can take it from you. Here's a neat little fact right here. You guys see that? You see that? What does that say? It says it's not a title number, and it's red. Do you see the way that's written? You guys take my class, I'll tell you what that is. It's a bond number. But more importantly, I'll tell you how it works, and I'll tell you how they use it, and I'll tell you how you can use it. Boom. It's all banking. It's all trusts. It's all of that stuff. And it's so much more than a $35 plastic license plate to put on your property. You guys want to control your property? You want to know what your property even is? You need to learn. And if you don't learn it from me, you need to learn it from somebody. Okay? Your parents should have taught it to you. Your grandparents should have taught it to you. And you know what? Mine should have taught it to me too. So I'm not just harping on your family tree. I'm harping on mine too. They put us all to sleep. They didn't have to. They have to do all of this. But here's what we can do. We can go forward and we can do the right thing. Like I was saying earlier, notice is very, very powerful. And once you give notice, you can get away with anything. Okay? Because that falls into another category of law, and it is a superior jurisdiction. That jurisdiction is the law of equity. Yeah, I mean, laws of equity, that's why you'll typically hear or see in judgments or orders where they request for a decision in law and equity, right? So that's what they typically do, right? They ask for a decision based on that. Why are they asking for a decision based in equity? Because they want to see what you've accepted. So once the county has accepted the proper notices, that changes who and what you do and how you're doing business. But there's a whole nother part of you that needs to change too. And if that doesn't change, you'll dishonor yourself and you'll never make it back. I promise you. You'll be on your own. And you don't want to be that person. So I hope that's made sense. I hope you guys understand that what's going on, what's happening. We're getting close to our closeout time here. But, it's important that you listen and that the information that you do get from people, make sure that it's good. All of it. Okay? If the first part of the story sounds good, then the second end of the story should also sound good. But if you can't get the second end of the story, then you got a problem. Because that means it's all crap. I heard somebody listening to what's his name? Adam Levine. What's that guy's name? Levine, I think is what his name was. But anyway, he's a guy that he died allegedly. I talked about him last week. Patrick Levine. And you'll hear the guy. He's kind of an ass. He's very foul-mouthed. He's very short with people. He likes to talk down to people. Very, very, very. He's a very inclusive kind of person that doesn't like to come out and talk much. But then when he does, he wants to just be a total ass. And can I tell you, that's a spirit in somebody. That's a spirit of bitterness. That's a spirit of somebody that's just not happy. And let me tell you something. If I'm going to take advice from somebody, I'm going to take advice from somebody that's happy that they've got that advice. That dude does not sound happy at all. Seriously. Dogs get quiet. Everybody leaves the room. And you start hearing all his battering and talking and people begging him to get information. Man. He's just a man. That's why I say that. He's just a man. And I tell you that knowledge... You know where knowledge comes from? It comes from Yahweh. It comes from our Creator. Wisdom comes from our Creator. Goodness comes from our Creator. And if you're shopping in any other supermarket, that's why your basket's empty and your bill is more than you can pay. You hear me? If you guys are interested in learning this process, if you're interested in changing your life and learning, your life is going to change if you decide to unplug all of this stuff. If you guys are interested in doing that, send me an instant message. Next week, we're going to be talking about some other stuff. Mike, I'm so sorry we weren't able to get to your call tonight or get to what you were saying, and I know it was good too, but we'll try again next week. Next week we're going to try to do the same thing. We're going to debunk these things. I'm going to talk to you about them. We're going to rationalize them. And then that way you can just put that stuff in the trash. Put them in the hoo-hoo trash because that's where they belong. Yeah. Instead of me cussing, I just say those things instead. So just bear with me, okay? I'm working on it. That's what us pastors are supposed to do, right? That's right. But anyway, hey, I want to thank you guys for giving me your time tonight. I just pray that Yahweh blesses your homes, each and every one of you. Please pray a special prayer for my brother Tom tonight. Doesn't matter. Yahweh knows what his needs are. And I just pray that you would keep him in your prayers tonight. He's a very special man, a very special person. And he needs that tonight. And it's good. I always tell people, pray for me. I need the prayer and you need the practice. It's true. It's true. It's true. All right, write that down. It's going to be good. I'll see you guys next week. Yahweh bless you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I'll see you next Monday. Good night.
Call recording off.
Good night, everyone.